Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer
who have teamed up to reflect,
challenge,
and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings. Find the reframe.
Start your reclaim.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Reframe and Reclaim. I'm Jen Harris.
And I'm Courtney Huckabee.
And today we're discussing how, that cup of coffee, it could be costing you your bigger dreams. So I know this is a problem I've had in the past and lots of people do, but especially with millennials, did you know that 46% of millennials spend $100 or more a month on impulse shopping, and 18% spend over $200 a month?
I believe that. I'm
Yes.
a millennial.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yes, very much so.
Do you ever do impulse spending?
Never.
No.
What's that? Yes, I do. I mean, I think everyone does impulse spend at some times. I think that some people are a little more conscious of it than others. But yes, I like to get my coffee or a quick meal out because I don't want to cook.
Yes.
Maybe that online purchase just because it looks really great and it's on sale. So let's get it. So yes, I do. What about you?
Food is mine. I do not like cooking. People who know me know that's not my forte or my love. So anytime I can have someone else cook for me, it's worth the cost. So that's where my money tends to go.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people who easily, meal preps and cooking and doing all of the grocery shopping and the time spent to create a meal,
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to enjoy it? Will the kids like it? Is it a new recipe? I think a lot of us do prefer to go to the convenient route of just go out to eat.
Yes.
So
that's me.
yes.
And you said you're more of a coffee person?
I need caffeine in the morning. Definitely. I'm definitely in the mom chapter of a young child and running a business and things. So yes, I like coffee, but I have changed my coffee habits. Jen, you might be proud of me.
Yes, tell me.
I do tend 4 out of 5 days out of the week to brew coffee at home.
Hey.
Because I don't like, just a drip coffee. I like the lattes with cinnamon. And
she's a fancy lady, y'all.
Give me some almond milk in that. And so it does add up. And there'll be times that I pull up to the coffee shop and I'm like, oh, and I'll just get a little, breakfast thing. And it's like $15 or $16 just for me. And so I've kind of paid attention to that cost that adds up very quickly.
So as people are thinking about these impulse purchases, what are the reasons why we tend to impulse purchase, and why is it so hard to control those emotions and control that spending habit?
I'm glad you said emotions, because typically we're led by our emotions, right?
Yes.
I'm excited about this sale, or I'm just really tired and I don't want to cook.
I don't want to cook. Yep.
Yes.
That's me.
You feel that. I think emotional regulation is one of the bigger things. We're driven by our emotion. We're driven by the immediacy or the immediate gratification that spending might fulfill in me for that one moment. So I think if we are to slow down and pause, which we talk about a lot in decision making, let's not make an impulse decision, an impulse purchase, we are more likely to really weigh out the opportunity cost. And
what is opportunity cost?
So the opportunity cost is deciding to either choose to purchase something here and now that's going to fulfill me immediately, or delay that to maybe purchase something else later, or maybe not to buy something small now so that I can purchase something larger later. It's really like this opportunity immediate or this opportunity delayed, which is hard for a lot of us, that delayed gratification.
Yes. Well, yeah, because if it only costs $4 now,
just $4,
it seems like I'm going to get that dopamine hit. I'm going to feel a little bit better. And then those bigger bigger goals seem so far away. And so not necessarily unattainable, but just it's going to be a whole lot harder. We're humans. We like the easy route, right? We have the easy button, right?
Convenience. People say money is king, but convenience is king. I think a lot in the American culture. And did you know, like, the average just drip coffee is $3.08 to $3.52. So if you buy a coffee every day of the week, it's just a regular drip coffee. I
Yeah.
mean, that adds up very easily. And then a specialty coffee can be $4.50 to $6 plus, which is where my coffee spending is. So if you think about that, $4 or $8 or $3 every day, and you add that times 365 days or
Mhm.
200 days, that's easily thousands of dollars just in coffee
Yes.
purchases.
So, would you be willing to give up coffee for a bigger goal? Or how do we help people to understand this, like this bigger goal really is more important than this cup of coffee? How do we help them switch that
Well, I
mindset?
think it is, again, kind of reframing your mindset. And reframing by that, we want to make sure that we are looking into delayed gratification and knowing that there's a goal coming up or there's something. And I used to do this when I was younger, and it wasn't with money per se, but it was with food because I wanted to be summer ready. And so I would be
Mm,
like, okay, we're not getting fast food this month, or we're not gonna eat French fries. And so I'd be like, I really want French fries right now, but I was like, I also really want to look really great at the swimming pool. And so practicing those muscles of, is this large French fry going to satisfy me, or am I going to feel worse later
mm,
when I'm sitting out by the pool? And I think that's the same thing as, as we're an adults. Is this coffee going to gratify me now, or is it going to be really great to pay off that credit card? Or is it going to be really great to save up the $1,000 for, that really nice bag I wanted? Or maybe there's a trip you want to go on, that's a really great thing. And so I think it is practicing that delayed gratification and moving away from the present bias. So thinking that something right here is going to satisfy me more than something later.
mm. I know one thing I used to do, back in the day was, if we'd had this delayed gratification, it was like, oh, I didn't buy the coffee. I would take the cash and put it in a jar,
And
right?
you
And then I
see
had
it,
a visual of like,
see
this is
it,
how much I've saved.
right?
But I have found that to be so much harder nowadays because I swipe everything, right? Everything's a card swipe, and I don't, mentally, you
Mm-hmm.
don't see it go out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I think that's the other thing is some people do like the envelope method. I know there's
mhm,
the envelope
yep,
method where you're like actually setting up a budget and you're like, this is the budget for spending to go out to eat, or this is the budget for our fun, and this is the budget for whatever groceries. And whatever's in that envelope is all you can spend. But that takes time to plan it. But
yes,
it can be really great to be like, that money, I'm seeing it go away instead of that easy swipe and then it's out of sight, out of mind.
right,
So
right.
that's another option too. I think that's a really great to be able to visualize that. Or if you can even write it on a whiteboard, I saved $3 today by not going
Yes.
to get coffee. Or a family of five, if you're just like going fast food, the average family of five fast food total is anywhere from $40 to $70. That's like McDonald's. That's like, going to grab a burger, or, if you're going Taco Bell, like really simple,
Yes.
fast, and not healthy food.
Right.
But if you wanted to go and sit down, just a casual family dining, that can be anywhere from $75 to $120.
Yep.
And if you're going out to eat every week, that can be $40 to $120 every week that could be spent on.
I'm just here shaking my head because I'm doing the math and I'm like, just spend it.
But not to say you shouldn't spend money on
Right.
convenience. It's just if there are bigger goals or there are other things that have a bigger opportunity
hmm
cost that you really want to save up for or work towards, having a visual of some kind can be really, really helpful.
And one thing I'd heard before and learned was, by the time you get through the drive-through, usually it's like if you're going out, it's still going to be 20 minutes about, right? Like to go in, get through the line, get back home with your food. And it really will take that long to cook a pizza, right? To preheat an oven, throw a pizza in. And while pizza still isn't like the healthiest option, it does show like if you're just wanting that quick meal, you really can do that at home. And while I don't always live by that rule, I do try and
Sure.
tell myself that, like, no, I can just go home and make this, and I can do, you know, two $10 pizzas or even two $6 pizzas. So for the cost of $15 to $20, I can feed my family as opposed to $40. And so, right there, that's a really quick, big impact of savings.
Or if you're going and like getting pizza takeout, how
Mm-hmm.
much does that cost versus making pizza at home?
Right.
And if you have kids or smaller people in your home, you can make it a whole event of, you get to make your own personal pizza. And then they're learning some life skills as well. And it's a family event and we're making memories together and everybody gets what they want instead of having to split the cheese or split the, supreme pizza. I think it really can be helpful to just kind of reframe that thinking of, what is my goal?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is, I want to save $500, where can that come from in your budget? Can it come from fast food outspending? Can it come from the coffee stops in the morning?
Right.
Or buying those toys for the kids because they're really excited when they go to the grocery store with you? So I think there's lots of ways to kind of work towards those things, but definitely if we're feeling exhausted and we have the finances and I'm not going to feel guilty or burdened by spending this money, spend it if that's what it's there for. But if you are working towards a goal like the big dream of, the dream vacation, Disney World with the family or the beach vacation
Or paying off a car.
or paying up,
Yeah.
adulting.
Adulting.
That's not
I
as
know.
fun
I
as
know.
the beach vacation. Those things can be really helpful to have like a goal, and smart goals are really great. Specific, measurable, like I saved $3. We didn't go out to eat, we have $125 and then take that money into another account or into the jar, to the other envelope, whatever that process is. But I do think the convenience of swiping and the ease of convenience that we have with so many options have instant gratification,
Yeah.
it's very challenging to delay that.
I really like what you say about convenience is king. Like that really hits home for me because
Mm-hmm.
I think of things like DoorDash, or it's so convenient. Even with fast food, you can pay someone to deliver it to your house. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're paying an extra fee, and so there is a cost to this convenience. But yeah, that hits a little close to home
And
for
I
me.
and I tell people, I mean, people think I'm a little odd, which I'm totally fine with, but I've actually never paid a DoorDash. I've never had my groceries delivered
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like those little fees. And yes, it could save me money, but I also want to make sure that, whatever's being delivered to my house really is what I want. And so I like to pick out my produce and pick out
Yeah.
my things. But I think it can be something where I don't have an hour to go grocery shopping. Or, you know what, I am sick at home and
Yeah.
I just need food delivered. I understand that. But I'm very picky about extra fees. I don't like
Yeah,
those
me
added in
neither.
fees.
I do love the, put the order in and you go pick it up. Not the delivery, but the
Yep.
free pickups. I don't pay for fees for that either. But I have saved a ton of money on not impulse shopping by not going into the store, by
Mm-hmm.
keeping it. This is what I know I need.
Oh,
Purchasing it at home, picking it up, so that way I'm not tempted to see, oh, this item's on sale. I was kind of thinking about getting one of these, so I'm just going to pick it up now. So it
I
limits
could
that.
probably learn from you in that area because I do like to go and get what I want. But if I see something else that, piques my interest, I might purchase it too. So that might be one of my impulse buys is actually in the store perusing. So
Yeah, I do that a lot. I do also like the idea of, you were talking about the visual representation. I know
mm-hmm.
there's other ways where you can immediately transfer your money to savings. That's one thing that's nice with online banking is you are able to immediately do those transactions. So as soon as you save that money, you could go in your app, transfer it over to savings or a special account. Or they had them several years ago, especially for like fitness trackers or goals of making sure you walked every day. And so you would color in a square for every day you would walk, or if it was for every
Oh.
pound you lost, you'd color in a square. Or for money savings, it's like I saved $5, so you color in 5 squares. And so if you have a $500 goal, they're all online, but you can just print out a sheet with 500 squares and then color those in as you go. And then that's a good visual representation as well.
Yeah, and I think, the idea of immediate gratification and what my goal is, I think our goals, they can't be too big. Like, I want to be a millionaire. And so $3 and $1 million is a very big difference. And so maybe we start with, a smaller goal to get to the larger goal. I think that can be really helpful too to help delay that gratification and really think of that cost benefit.
Yeah. I know I'm just sitting here just thinking like, okay, what do I need to cut back on to save for my goals? So what's like a big goal that's a delayed gratification that you save for?
That I have saved
Mhm.
for.
Or are saving for now, either or.
Um, you know, I really wanted to go and visit family overseas last year, after Christmas for New Year's. So, for 3 or 4 months, so we decided to go ahead and buy the airplane tickets because we had family to stay with. But for 3 or 4 months, we actually did eat at home most of the time, and we were stopping our Amazon purchases. Like me and my husband love the convenience of Amazon and having something delivered to my house in that way. But we did that, and I felt really good that we saved money for that. And then when we came back from our trip, we promised ourselves we would pay for that trip. We would pay off the credit card, and we did do that. But we had to, after New Year's, also, do a little bit more of that cutting back. And I think it's kind of stuck with us. We are not going out to eat. We're cooking a lot more at home,
Hmm.
and having, I feel like, less rush times actually, because we go and sit down. We have to wait for the waiter and have our food delivered,
Yeah,
which
you're
is
at the mercy of
great.
the restaurant as to how long it will
But if
take.
the restaurant's busy and I have a 5-year-old who needs to be
Yes.
in bed by 7:30 and my husband who gets off work by 6, it was stressful for me. And so it actually helped us just to be like, we're eating at home, we're gonna cook food at home. So I feel like that's been a habit that's kind of stayed with us since
Yeah.
about fall. What about you?
Back in my early 30s, had a bit of debt, from all the 20s spending and trying to build a home the way, you think it should be,
Oh,
or,
Instagram.
dress a certain way for your career. And so I had accumulated some debt. So for me, it really was cutting back on those fast food, quick food stops because I'd be working all day and I'm like, I don't want to cook. It's just me. I'm just going to go grab
Mm,
something. But really being able to just come home and eat something quickly, I was able to, pay off my car sooner. I was able to pay off debt. And then that freedom and how good I feel when I don't have debt makes it so then I feel okay about, okay, I'm going to charge this trip because I will go into debt for travel.
me too.
I will say that.
Yes.
And so then it allows me like, okay, I can budget this. If it's a little bit more expensive, I feel okay putting it on a credit card because I know I will pay it off
Hmm.
very quickly and not pay those all the
Interest
interest because
fees.
I hate interest fees. Like
I
there's nothing I hate more. Like you were
I
saying,
don't like delivery fees.
yes,
I don't like interest fees.
I want to keep as much money of mine as possible.
And that's how they make the money because convenience
Yes.
really is king. And they're like, well, I heard a thing. I'm not a Ticketmaster person. I don't go to a lot of concerts. That's not my jam. Travel's my jam. But I heard it was like, there's a convenience fee for printing the ticket. There's a
Mm,
convenience fee for an email of the ticket. There's a convenience fee for, whatever. I don't know. But that's where they make the money because you're like, yes, and I do need it emailed, and I do need a physical copy, and I do want to make sure I have parking, and I do want to make sure that I can be VIP. A lot of people will just like just a little bit more and a little bit
yeah.
more, and then now we're like $50 into fees, and they've made
Yes.
that money.
So if you've had that problem where somewhere between, your 12th coffee run and your fourth Target run, and all of a sudden you're like, my goals are becoming unattainable, there's a term for that. They call it the latte factor. So if
Mhm.
your money is slowly kind of bleeding out. So most of our spending habits and our money that we're trying to save isn't wasted in not wasted, it's not the right word, but aren't spent on big purchases. It's
Sure.
those little tiny transactions that
Hmm.
really add up.
And that's the present bias if you're going to
Mm,
the scientific term. So the latte factor or the present bias. What I'm doing now isn't really going to impact later. It has more importance, or that
mm,
immediate gratification now. I will say that immediate gratification, delaying that is a really great life skill for us as adults, but teaching this to our children too. It can be really helpful for us to be role modeling that for our kids because a lot of people get caught up in it feels good now, or I want
right.
this now, or it'll help me feel better if I get this now. And delaying that can really help us realize that we can work through that, or we can actually find another solution to something rather than the first thought that comes up.
So, just a quick note as we're about wrapping this up for our listeners, let's say someone just walked into the store and they're like, oh, this is only $5. I really need this. Or they're driving home and they're like, I really just want to stop and pick up food. What can we do to help reframe our mindset in that moment when it is so hard to think of that delayed gratification?
So, if you're starving and you're going to feel good about the food you're going to buy and it's going to feel good later on and you have $1 million in your bank account already, spend it. I think it really is, will this right now feel good or will I feel good about it later? Because I know whenever I stop and I get that burger because I'm starving, and that's the hunger, immediate emotional dysregulation, I'm actually going to feel gross later after eating that burger because, I do want to be healthier and I'm not used to eating the large french fry with the burger, but I don't want to waste my money because I spent the combo meal and I had to get a soda because that's how it comes. So I really think of not just in that moment what will feel good, but will I feel good later too? And so, or will I use this $5 thing later? Have I been looking for this for a long time, or oh, that's kind of fun?
So thinking maybe where those impulses are. So if you're in your car, maybe it's taking a sticky note and writing Disneyland on it or something, or whatever
Oh,
your
that's a
goal is, and put
great
it in your
visual.
car.
Yes.
Maybe something like that. Or is it like taking a breath? Is breathing good? Or
Breathing is helpful in
Okay.
life. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people say breathe, breathe, breathe. Yes, breathing is great. It's not going to fix everything, but it definitely, I think it really is the cognitive thought. If you're an adult, the cognitive thought of what is this going to do for me today and how will that impact me tomorrow? And I think that's really going to be helpful. The cognitive reframe.
Cognitive reframe. That's your SAT word phrase for the day, everybody.
We're restructuring how we think about things, and it's hard. It takes practice, but it is a muscle that if you practice it, it becomes more natural and easier to use.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep practicing using that muscle. Anything else you want to say to our listeners before we go?
We just hope that you enjoy all of your future goals and don't let that daily coffee ruin the dream of your lifetime. And really think about it. What are your dreams? Let's make sure we have something to look forward to later in life too, not just to this coffee at this moment.
Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, please send this along to someone else that you think could be helpful to hear. And like and subscribe. Listen in every week this summer as we bring in new topics, and we will see you next week.